All right. So you were talking about the Kappas on Central State.
Yes.
The fact that many of them were on the honors roll, many of them were athletes. Even though you have a diverse family with some Qs, some Alphas, some Sigmas, your dad was a Sigma, all right. Something attracted you to Kappa.
Well, the individuals, when we were pledging, the character of them just
Character.
attracted me,
Okay.
And I never regretted it. I mean, I wasn't unaware of fraternities when I came to campus because I had been partially exposed.
Right.
It wasn't a totally new
Right.
era, but I think I made the right choice.
From everything I have seen, yes, sir, it was the right choice. Now let me see. Did you play any sports?
Well, I ran track.
You ran track.
I ran track the first year.
I'm sure that Brother Tom might question how much you ran.
Well, he probably would. You're talking about the Pine Man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He was a major runner, as best as I can determine. So you graduated in what year?
1955.
And then you went on to become a dentist.
No, I was in ROTC and I was commissioned.
You were in ROTC?
Yeah, I was commissioned.
Okay.
And I spent 3 years at that time in the military.
What branch?
The infantry at that time.
Army.
Army.
Hoorah.
Yeah.
I spent 4 years in the Army.
I happened to be I was stationed at Fort Ord, California.
Okay.
And that was during, they called it ROSID and ROTAD. That was a current infantry division. Reorganization of current infantry division.
Okay.
And for some reason, I became a company commander as a second lieutenant.
Wow.
The only one on the post.
Wow.
Now, I'm not saying that was because of me. I think, how things fall in place.
Yeah.
Things fall in place.
That's right.
And it was very interesting. And of course, I spent 20 years, a combination of military. After I went to dental school, I came back in. They recruited me. And I ended up spending 20 years and I retired as a full colonel.
Congratulations and thank you for your service, Colonel McGoodwin.
Well, it was a pleasure, sir.
Thank you for your service. In this day and age, when it seems like so many people are avoiding service, as far as I'm concerned, you are a true patriot. Okay, you put in 20 years, and you end up as a colonel. I could only put up with 4 years, and that was I didn't have the blankety blank that you had.
Well, it depends on circumstances. Kind of, if it depends on the situation. I went in because when I was in undergraduate school, there was between the Korean War and Vietnam, and you either went to school, or you got drafted. And if you're going to get drafted, you might as well be in a situation where it's a little more pleasant.
I wish I'd have talked to you back then. I obviously wound up in the military. I actually joined, wound up in Vietnam, and again, I came back, and that was enough for me, But so you spent what were some of your tours of duty?
Well, they were all pleasant, as I was saying. I was when I was on active duty. My first tour of duty was Fort Ord, California. And that was a very pleasant assignment.
Oh, yeah.
Because we went there. I just got married just before I went in, and they just built these. They were called the Wherry housing, WHERRY, for officers.
Okay.
And I was just fortunate to have a house, brand new house that overlooked the Pacific Ocean.
If you got to do it.
If you got to do it.
If you got to do it.
And,
okay.
you know, I was planting flowers in December. You know. And I mean, and then, you know, you had the beaches to go to.
Yeah.
In between California and San Francisco and Los Angeles.
Was it bad living for a kid out of Cincinnati?
It wasn't bad at all.
Okay.
And it turned out pretty good, but it did have some pitfalls.
Okay.
My first assignment was with I was in a company, and the company commander's name was so long ago. He was from Boston, Massachusetts. He was a West Pointer.
Okay. Ooh.
And he was Can I get up just a minute?
Yeah.
He was really a great guy.
Okay.
I mean, you know, he was a person that you know, he took me under his wing.
Right.
And of course, I was only at that point in time. There were very few black officers or senior NCOs.
Is that airborne I'm seeing on the front of that?
Yeah, I was airborne too.
101st?
No.
Okay. Airborne. That means you jumped out of planes with a chute.
Oh yes.
Okay, you know they didn't trust us with a chute, so you know we just had to jump out of the plane.
You mean to tell me that you jumped out without a chute?
The short story. We get to Vietnam, and the pilot of the plane says, "We don't have time to land. We're just gonna taxi, and you all grab your stuff and jump." Okay, so we literally jumped out of the plane while it was still moving. It was taxiing, you know, and that's our joke. You know, they couldn't afford parachutes for us. We were 101st Airborne in Nam.
Well, there weren't many black officers.
No.
In fact, I just wanted to show you, this is a 10th Infantry Division.
Wow.
And 10th Infantry, and these are all officers.
That's one. Yeah, I'm counting 4 total.
Yeah, well, they're just 3.
Okay, I was counting the guy over there, but okay.
Oh yes, that's right. He was in the battalion. He was a major.
Okay.
But now this one right here,
he's got a bunch of medals there.
He got the silver. He should have gotten the Congressional
Medal of Honor. Yeah.
But they downgraded to Silver Star.
Still.
But I mean, he got a battlefield commission. You know, he was good.
Yeah. I'm looking at all those medals. Those are, he had to serve in combat to get all of that.
Well, lots of them served in combat.
Yeah.
But I mean, for a black man to be put up for the Congressional Medal of Honor.
And to get a battlefield commission.
Got battlefield
both of
commission.
those.
But they did not give him what he deserved, you know.
The Congressional Medal of Honor is what he should have gotten, yeah.
But you see, all these are captains or senior first lieutenant.
Yeah.
That's only second lieutenant.
Wow. Wow. And you were young man.
Oh yeah, well,
you know, as they say, we look at back then, we realize we were not that much past being children and in the military. Okay.
That's true. But it was an experience. This man right here, see, his name was Mark C. Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
He was a company commander, and he had 7 second lieutenants under him.
Wow.
And when they did this reorganization of the current infantry division, called ROSID,
right,
they were getting ready to move into a different tactics. In other words, that's when you got the APCs, Armored Personnel Carrier.
Right.
That's when they came into effect.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Back in 55, 56.
50, yeah.
And so during that time, with him, I was the only black.
Mm-hmm.
On his recommendation, he was to move up to battalion
Mm-hmm.
because they were going to change this. The other companies weren't going to stay forever.
Right.
And so he recommended me to be the commander over all these other white boys.
But in 1956,
this was 56.
to be a second lieutenant and a company commander in a predominantly white unit.
Well, particular, it was a white unit, but particular the staff, the command.
Right.
You can see that.
Yeah.
He should have been a battalion commander.
Uh-huh.
But what is he? He is the executive.
Executive. Yeah.
And
wow.
And he should have been.
He should have been Congressional Medal of Honor and should have been much higher.
Well, I mean, he went from sergeant to captain. I mean,
yeah.
So I mean, the rank. Some things they can't deny you.
No.
But
well, I firmly believe that one, there is a higher power that rewards us for our efforts, and he definitely got rewarded because one, he lived, and two, he got some recognition.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this.
Yes,
I told
sir.
you about Captain Rhodes.
Yes, sir.
Fine young man.
Yes, sir.
Fine. He was a fine fellow.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. When the reorganization came about, they disbanded these other companies and reorganized. So I went into Company A. I'm just a second lieutenant, and I went in this company A, under Wiley T. Mangum.
Okay.
From South Carolina. The most wait a minute now, he's a West Pointer too. Same class of West Point.
Yeah, but
most prejudiced man I've ever known.
Mm-hmm.
And so now look, I come in the company. The same few guys in the company.
Right.
I used to command them.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't speak to me. He didn't speak to me. And so, you know, from first lieutenant, from second lieutenant to first lieutenant is automatic unless you committed a crime.
Yeah.
Okay, now I was spitting polish because when I come home for lunch,
Mm-hmm.
I had another set of boots. My wife had them shine for me.
Mm-hmm.
I put them on.
Okay.
All
right.
from
I know
the
exactly where you're coming from.
It,
Yeah.
it was strictly spitting
Right.
polish. That's why I was ahead of all these guys.
Okay.
He didn't want to promote me from second lieutenant to first lieutenant.
And that's an automatic promotion.
It's automatic. But I mean, you know, first of all, he wasn't talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm way ahead of these guys.
Right.
So it just so happened, I said, wait a minute, that's not right. I mean, but faith is something. I don't know if you ever heard of James Evans.
Yeah.
He was civilian aide to Secretary of Defense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he married my father's sister.
Oh.
So he's my uncle.
Okay.
And I started thinking, I said, what? I mean, something is wrong. So I didn't have anybody to go to, so I went to Major Benton.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, well, you know, he was saying, well, what we do? And then I said, well, I got a uncle in the Pentagon because he's been under 3 presidents. He's a civilian aide to Secretary
Right.
of Defense.
Pretty.
He's been under Truman, all of them.
Right. Pretty high up.
Pretty high. So he said, what? Oh, we're going to write this letter.
Okay.
And he
Okay.
wrote the letter, and believe it or not, this letter came back circled in red.
Mm-hmm.
He was moved out of the company.
Of course. Yeah.
And he was, I mean, he's a West Pointer now.
Mm-hmm.
He is both of these guys are West Pointer.
Yeah.
And so he moved out, and you know, things were fine from then on.
Okay.
There.
Okay.
And whenever the general would come, and you know we're doing PT or something.
Mm-hmm.
They want an officer in front. I'd be the one they put up front.
Okay. Okay.
And I mean, you know,
Right.
things went awfully smooth.
Right.
So
You're the showpiece to some extent.
to some extent. To
All
some
right.
extent. But then after 3 years, I said, I think I'll get out. You know, because the war was going on. I put my time
Okay.
in reserve, so I went back and picked up a couple courses and went to dental school.
What made you decide dental school?
Well, I you know Bruce Green
Mm-hmm.
over the
I've heard the name. Yeah.
Well, there was a building on Rockdale. It was kind of a medical building.
Mm-hmm.
My father and they were in the same building, and quite a you know there were some professional. I tell you, it's a funeral home now.
Okay.
That used to be a professional building where what's a funeral home over there?
Don't get me in line. Don't get
Well,
me in line.
anyway,
What was your dad?
he was an insurance broker.
Oh, he was an insurance broker. Okay.
He had an insurance company
In that professional
that
building.
building.
Okay.
And Bruce Green was my mentor,
Okay.
and so he had something to do with it.
Okay.
But I was going into medicine or something, in some
Okay.
form of. But he kind of pushed me in that direction
All right.
because I had an uncle that was a physician. You know, my father's brother.
Okay.
But and then I went on dental school, and then when I came out, I did a residency at Albert Einstein Medical Center, and I was kind of recruited because they needed.
There was a shortage of medical doctors,
Yeah.
all kinds of medical professionals at that time. Yeah.
And so I was recruited, and so what happened? I don't know. You know Chuck Dillard.
Now that name really sounds, yeah.
Okay,
I know the name, I don't know the person.
Well, we grew up together.
Okay.
And he.
Let me help you out. I'm not from Cincinnati.
Okay.
I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois. Okay, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, anyway.
But that's the Dillard Center. He's named after that.
No, that's his father's.
That's his father.
was
Okay.
Dillard. And I could tell you something about his father. His father was one of the first radiologists in America, black radiologists.
Wow.
And he applied for, that was in World War II.
Right.
And they drafted him, but the job they gave him, he was head of the latrine. Now this is
a radiologist. This is
he's a radiologist.
Scholar. Okay.
And he was smart.
He's smart.
He went to Meharry and finished first in his class.
First in his class. And yeah. Okay. All right.
I'm just trying to tell you about the time leading up to where we were.
Right.
So my times were much better because that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Even in
So he paved the way in a lot of ways for your generation, just like your generation paved the way for the next generation that came after you.
Listen, it came out. Now he couldn't get a. He was much better trained than his son.
Mm-hmm.
He and I grew up together. That's Chuck.
There you are.
Now look, Chuck became a general. Now I'm just showing you how the times. His father couldn't get a job,
and you're almost at attention. But go ahead.
But I'm just showing the times.
Right.
Now Chuck, he loves to talk about it because his father was smart.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as bad as they needed doctors, radiologists.
Right. Radiologists at that. And there weren't a whole hell of a lot of radiologists at that time in this country, period. And they gonna put him as head of the latrine?
They did that.
Okay,
so he got out. But things are so good You know, you heard of Bill Bowen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we had Governor Gilligan, you know. Chuck got his in the reserve, you know, he got his star in reserve because he was just there
Right.
in the reserve.
Right.
And he kind of influenced me to come back in, you know, because they were recruiting. When I came back in, now I left as a first lieutenant. I came back in as a major.
As a major, because you got this degree now, and they need you desperately now in the military.
Well, they needed us,
right.
And then I stayed a major for 18 months. And I was a lieutenant colonel for another 18 months, and most of my time, I was at least half of my time was as a full colonel.
Full colonel.
As a full colonel.
Full colonel.
But I mean, you know, just
that's like one step below that first star general.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I'm just helping those folks that don't know the military command structure.
But my uncle, my father's brother, was also a physician.
Okay.
He applied. This was during World War II, same time as Dr. Delta Zeta.
Right.
They just kept messing around. Then they tried to get him to join the Army. He applied for commission in the Navy. They weren't taking blacks in the Navy. Doctors. As bad as they needed.
Were, yes.
During World War II, they needed doctors.
Right. Not black ones though.
But see, his application for the Navy, you know, they looked at going by the rules and regulations. That superseded them trying to draft him into the Army. He never went in. As bad as they needed doctors. I mean, this is evolution.
That's the system that preceded your generation and certainly my generation.
But it's even better. But when I went in, I think there were maybe 2 generals, black generals.
Yeah.
And both Benjamin Davis Jr. and Sr.
Right. Things didn't open up until the middle of the Vietnam War. That started gradually.
And a little bit after. Yeah.
Right.
Because they, you didn't see him. There was no black general.
No.
There was no black general.
No.
And
what are you gonna do with a black general? I mean, okay. I mean, you know, we ain't got that. Yeah.
Because my PMS&T, that's Professor of Military Science and Tactics, when I was at Central State.
Right.
He was the sharpest colonel I have ever seen in my life. That's a part of my training, you know. I think he was so sharp. And they made him a PMS&T. But I mean, he should have been a general.
Right.
He should have been a general.
So your training, ROTC, out of Central State, and your education that you got out of this HBCU set you up for not only officer, but also a career in dentistry.
Well, that was a foundation, because, but I mean, you know, but I think during that time was the best time. That was the start for blacks to excel and succeed, because Harry Truman cut out segregation.
Open up the military.
And that was just a good time because, you know, when I have, or I mean, some of the stuff, I'll let you read.
Okay. And I mean, I think people forget about the fact that during this period of time at HBCUs, that was probably one of the few places that blacks would go to college. This is before Brown versus Topeka Board of Education, and we were separate colleges and universities for majority of black professionals. Period.
Oh yeah, and even today, today it's still bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I did an internship at Harriet Hubbard Hospital. I did a residency in anesthesia at Albert Einstein Medical Center in Philly. And after that, I applied for a residency in oral surgery at the University of Cincinnati. Now, now, I haven't heard from him yet. But not only that,
Yeah.
I had a partner that was in dental school with me.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we were partners here in Cincinnati.
Yes, sir.
He was from North Carolina A&T. He flew jets with Chappie James.
Wow.
That.
Yeah.
So he's sharp.
Yeah.
He was sharp.
Real. Yeah.
He was sharp.
Yeah.
He and I practiced together for 20 years.
Okay.
And he died, you know.
Let me interrupt you. What was it like to start a dentistry here in Cincinnati? I mean, you had to start that from scratch.
It was pretty easy, though.
It was pretty easy.
Mm.
I mean, pretty easy. Couldn't have been pretty. It's easy if you know what you're doing.
Well, I mean, you know, it wasn't difficult. Put it that way.
Okay.
It wasn't
Okay.
difficult.
So and how many? So you spent 20 years in the military.
Well, but that was in conjunction with the regular Army and the Reserve.
Okay.
And so even while I was practicing, I was still.
Okay. So only part of that was active duty, a lot, and some of that was reserve.
Oh yeah.
And so while you're in the reserve component, you're also setting up your practice here in the Cincinnati area.
I was practicing.
You're practicing. Okay.
See, the reserve, I'd go once a month.
Once a month.
And then 2 weeks in the summer.
Right.
And then
okay.
go to school.
Okay.
See, I'd take over 100 hours of classroom, you know,
right.
in addition to all this other training. You know.
How many degrees you got?
2.
2. Okay. You keep talking about his education, so I don't want to keep up with you. All right.
Well, but I mean, you know, it's school.
Yes.
See, you had to go to school.
Right.
I mean, you have to have this continuing education.
And there's this constant, you constantly, I got you.
So every month, you know, you're getting hours.
Yeah, because there's new techniques, new material, new drugs, so forth and so on. All right, so
put it this way: if I graduated in 1963 and I retired in 50 years later.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
If I was practicing now with what I knew, you know, it'd be criminal.
Yeah.
If I didn't go to, you know.
Yeah. I teach at Miami University. I've been there for 30 years, and you're absolutely right. If I was teaching what I thought I knew 30 years ago today, they'd be looking at me saying, "You're stupid."
Everything has changed. I mean, techniques, materials, just everything has changed.
Help me out here. 1960s. By the way, you've been a Kappa almost as long as I've been alive. All right, and that's saying something. Okay, but what was it like to be a Kappa in 1963 here in Cincinnati? What was the scene like for a Kappa in
Cincinnati? I became a Kappa in 1963, but I didn't come back to Cincinnati until maybe that's 50 and 52. I didn't come back to Cincinnati to practice until 66.
66. So, and that's the height of the civil rights movement across the country and everything. So, and I know you're a professional. What was it like to be a professional and a Kappa in the Cincinnati area in 1960s, in the mid to late 1960s, going into the 70s?
Again, let me put you just prior to me coming in.
Okay.
The generation before me, that would be Dr. Wilson, Dr. Clark, and Dr. Edwards, who was a Kappa.
Right.
Art Edwards.
Right.
Okay. They were the first group to join to be permitted to join the Cincinnati Dental Society.
What do you mean permitted to join?
Well, I don't know how would you want me to frame that? How would you want me to frame it? If you tell me a better way to frame
I don't know a better way to frame it. So you trying to tell me that black dentists were not permitted to be part of the dental society here in Cincinnati?
Just prior to this group before
me.
And when they first started, you know, what we do now, we go have dinner.
Right.
At wherever. And then we have a meeting. Yeah. Well, when they finally let them in, they couldn't eat dinner. They could come to the meeting, but they couldn't eat. They couldn't eat. So, I mean, I'm just showing you I'm trying to show you the progression.
I understand.
That's going on.
I understand.
And now, but now, a fellow that started about the same time I did, he's very retired. His name is Fred Bronson. Mm-hmm. You ever heard of Fred Bronson?
No, sir.
He's my
contemporary. Okay.
But his son is with him in his office.
Yes, sir.
And Fred was the first member to be president of the Cincinnati Dental Society. Wow. And his son was the second. Wow. So, I mean, you know, things were better than they were other places. Yeah, but still. And then we've had Casey. You ever heard of Edmund Casey?
No, sir. Tell me about it.
Edmund Casey or George Hale or Joe Hackworth. Okay. You heard of Joe Hackworth?
Yeah, I've heard of Joe Hackworth.
Okay, they've been president of the Academy of Medicine. Yeah. But that's pretty recent.
And so you literally are a part of this history. You are part of some dynamics before and during and after that have transformed this city. You're being nice, but yes.
I don't know. Well, for example, you asked me what it's like. You know, there's another organization called the ADA is American Dental Association.
Yes, sir.
We have NDA as a National Dental Association, which is a Black Dental Association. Okay. And the local or regional is called the Ohio Valley Dental Society. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was our relief. Yeah. Yeah. We had that, and of course, most of us that were active became president or something. Right. Of that, you know, most of it they were active, but that's now. I don't know. I still think we really now. I think we should be more active with the NDA now. Okay. I mean, with the local. Right. With the local Ohio Valley.
How old are you, sir?
Today is 17th.
Today is July the 17th. Yes, sir.
Okay, July the 15th. I was 88. July the 15th. 2 days ago.
Damn good to be 88. When I get to be 88, I want to be like you, moving around.
Well,
you
got blessed.
Yes, you blessed and highly favored. And you got all your teeth, you know.
I got a couple missing.
But that's okay. And his grandma would say you clothed and in your right mind. Yeah. All right. Today.
I don't know about that.
I got one more question. I got 2 more questions. If you could talk to the young brothers today, what message would you give them?
Well, now which group of young brothers? You know, because I'm a mentor right now.
Right. I'm talking about there's the 2 groups of young brothers. Young brothers that are just now coming into the frat. What would you say to that cohort? And then we'll get to some of the other knuckleheads. I'm sorry.
Into the ones that are coming into the frat, there are others that need it much worse than the ones coming into the frat. Okay. Because they have made some steps in the right direction, and they're pointed okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying all of them are.
So this
I don't think
mid
that's where the
range
focus
group.
should be.
Let's say this mid range group. This group that has been a Kappa for a while, that are mature Kappas. Okay. What message would you say to these brothers that are 40, 50 years old right now, that are in the leadership in many cases, or are reaching leadership, or should be mature status in the community, and particularly in Kappa? What message would you have for them?
Well, let me digress a bit.
Go.
As I said, the brothers at that level, they don't need the help. And I told you I was a mentor.
Yeah.
And with not only with the Kappa, see, you know Jim Anderson.
Yeah, I know Jim.
Okay, well I set up the mentorship program.
At the school that he's working with.
Yeah, I set that up.
Okay.
And he replaced me because
you said. Tell me about that.
Now he is what I like about Jim. I say he's taking it to another level.
That's at not Walnut Hill. What school is that? Was that at
Winton Hills?
Winton Hills. So what year did you set that up?
Oh, it's about 15 years ago. I think.
15 years ago. Okay. What motivated you to do that?
Well, I was in the social. I was over the social action program in the Boule, you know.
Okay.
And that was my job.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying about that was my job, to work with the youngsters.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying that my experience working with the youngsters, you know, and I also work with them in the Masons.
Yeah, I saw you in the Masons.
And at my church, you know,
right.
So I got a McGoodwin scholarship, Union Baptist.
Right.
Okay. Well, the reason, I mean, you know, I don't have a lot to say to those brothers. Where I think we should be down where we're working with these young brothers.
7, yes,
6, 7, and 8. That's where we need to work with.
Yes, sir.
Because if you don't get them then,
you lost them.
They're lost. Now, these brothers up here, I mean, they ain't perfect now.
Right.
But they're going in the right direction.
Yes.
And if you look,
they survived all of this at 6, 7, 8, 14, 15.
That's right. They're okay.
Right.
I mean, you know, everybody could do better.
Hello.
Everybody, but I mean, I look at the brothers. I go to the meetings. You know, we got kings in the corner. You know.
Yeah, I've been hearing about this.
Well, you ought to come in sometime.
Y'all need to invite me, but that's another issue.
You're invited.
Okay.
You're invited.
Okay.
You're invited. We got some brothers that will still work.
Okay.
That come. But,
I think that was a big issue. Is that I work at Miami and crazy times and everything. But go ahead.
But I mean, anytime you want to come for lunch.
Yeah.
See, we haven't had last year because of COVID. But for example, on the second Tuesdays in the month, we have over the Dillard Building.
Right. How did the Kings of the Corner come into being?
Well,
that had to come in under your watch.
No, it didn't come in.
That was before you.
That was before me.
Really?
I mean, see, I'm trying to think when I really became active, and it's ironic because I don't want to say this.
Don't. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Some things are esoteric, and we'll talk off camera.
Yeah. Okay, but I wasn't real active. I'm trying to think when I got the.
Got something for you here.
Oh my goodness!
Got something there for you.
Oh man, this is beautiful.
In recognition.
That's beautiful.
In recognition of all that you mean to us.
This is beautiful.
That's authentic. I mean, that's the real thing. We just want to give you that, okay? And you know it wouldn't be official, all right, if we didn't also give you a bottle of champagne to go with it. Okay?
This is beautiful.
Because we can't tell you how much we appreciate you. We are who we are because you were who you are. Okay?
Well, I think you asked me what I would say to the brothers, and I would put myself in that category. I think they could do more.
Yes, sir.
They could do more.
Yes, sir.
Now, I mean, they're going in the right direction, but I mean, it's like you got to pull some of these kids up by
Yes,
the
sir.
hand, because you know, we're the only ones that do it, because everybody recognizes the fact that we are exceptional.
Yes, sir.
I mean, there's nobody can do what we can do.
No, sir. And there's
especially with those kids, we know.
right.
And I'm just proud of Jim Anderson.
Jim has done a remarkable job,
Oh, yeah.
and he is still doing it. The chapter, by the way, is this close to starting a Kappa League that's going to build the Kappa League that's going to build the next step on the mentoring programs that you started and that Jim is fostering.
Now, Jim has also started one at Bond Hill.
Yes, yes.
You know, I go there occasionally, but
yes,
I'm just, you know, but they love him over
yes,
at the One Hills Academy.
yes, sir.
And when we go there, I mean, everybody's been there. I mean, Nate Jones,
Yes,
and Odell Owens,
right.
and Skip West.
Right.
All of them have been over there, and you know, those. See, here's the thing: these kids are smart. I mean,
Yeah.
look, I mean, they're so. You know, you can't be dumb in the streets.
No.
Or you don't survive being dumb in the
No.
streets.
No, it's not a question of being dumb. It's a question of us reaching them.
That's right. They're as smart as they can
Yes.
be. They're smart as whip.
Yes.
And that's why I say, you know, if you're a Kappa and got a job, a
Yeah.
profession,
Yeah.
and you provide for your family.
Right.
I mean, that's not where the focus needs to be.
No.
The focus needs to be down here.
To whom much is given, much is
Oh
required.
yes, oh yeah.
Sir, I thank you.